You're listening to Short Fiction Lab. Let's begin. Rule horror on campus. Summary. On this campus, you must follow rules to survive, otherwise you get assimilated. Mara wakes on cold linoleum, cheek pressed against a floor that smells like disinfectant and old mop water. A fluorescent light buzzes above her. Ceiling tiles form a perfect grid, too clean to be comforting. Somewhere down the hall, a door thumps, as if the building is settling into place. She blinks hard. Her throat is dry. Her tongue tastes like metal. A banner hangs crookedly overhead. Welcome back, students. The letters shimmer when she tries to focus, like her eyes can't agree on their shape. Footsteps pass. Many footsteps. A tide of students moving around her as if she's a backpack left in the middle of the corridor. Eli kneels beside her, his face pinched with concern. Eli says, "Mara, hey, you with me?" Mara pushes herself up, heart racing. Her palms slide slightly, as if the floor has been freshly waxed. Mara says, "Where are we?" Jonah staggers near a trophy case, rubbing his temples. Jonah says, "This is a joke. It has to be. Did we sign up for something?" Lynn stands a little apart, shoulders tense, eyes scanning the ceiling as if she can hear it breathing. Lynn says, "It doesn't feel like a school. It feels like a set." Mara looks around. The corridor is wide, bright, and familiar in the way all schools are familiar. Lockers, bulletin boards, a row of framed team photos, a faint smell of cafeteria grease drifting from somewhere deeper inside. But the students' faces don't stick in her memory. She watches one laugh with her friend, and the laugh feels a half-second late, like it's been pasted over the moment. A laminated card lies near Mara's shoe, as if it slid there on purpose. She picks it up. The card reads, "Rule 1. When the bell rings, do not look up. Rule 2. If you see a person walking indoors with an umbrella, do not speak to them. Rule 3. Do not enter any classroom with the lights off." Jonah leans in, squinting. Jonah says, "That's creepy. That's also very specific." Eli says, "Maybe it's a drill. Some kind of orientation thing." Lynn's gaze stays on the ceiling. Lynn says, "Why would a drill include umbrellas?" The intercom clicks on, bright and cheery, like a smile you can't trust. The intercom voice says, "Good morning, students. Welcome to Orientation Day. Please remember, rules keep our campus safe." Mara says, "Orientation Day." Eli says, "Okay, so it's morning. First day vibes." Jonah says, "Great. So where's the exit?" A student brushes past them with a stack of papers. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't even glance at Jonah's shoulder, where she should have collided. She moves like Jonah isn't there. Mara watches the flow of bodies. Everyone seems to know exactly where they're going, even when no one is talking. Then the bell rings. A clean, sharp sound, too crisp, like it's coming from inside Mara's skull instead of a speaker. And the hallway changes. Students stop mid-step, not dramatically, not panicked, just controlled, like someone pressed pause. Every head dips, every gaze drops to the floor. Mara's neck tenses. Her instinct is to look up, to see what she's not supposed to see. Eli's hand clamps around her wrist. Eli says, "Low, don't." Mara forces her eyes downward. The floor tiles are off-white, flecked with grey. There's a scuff mark, shaped like a shoe heel. A strip of chewing gum flattened into a pale sneer. A boy a few lockers down doesn't follow the motion. He tilts his head back, curious and careless, like a kid who thinks rules are for other people. Mara doesn't look up. None of them do. They don't need to. Something drops into view anyway. Not from above the way a person would fall, but the way a thought arrives, sudden and unavoidable. A shape spills out from the ceiling grid, too fast to track, too wrong to name. It lands on the boy with a wet slap that doesn't match the clean hallway. The boy's mouth opens. No scream comes out. His arms jerk as if pulled by strings. Then he's yanked upward, hard, as if the ceiling has hooked him. The last thing Mara sees is his sneaker scraping against a locker door, leaving a fresh black streak. The bell stops. Sound returns, like someone unmuted the world. Students start walking again. Conversations resume mid-sentence. A laugh continues as if it never paused. Mara's breathing is ragged. Mara says, Did you see that? Jonah's face is pale. Jonah says, Where did he go? Eli says, Up. Lynn's voice is tight. Lynn says, It wasn't up. It was through. No one else reacts. Not one student stops to ask about the boy. Not one teacher rushes over. A girl steps into the space he was standing in and adjusts the strap of her backpack, calm as if the hallway has always had holes. Jonah turns to a passing student, desperate for normal. Jonah says, Hey, did you see? The student glances at him with a polite, empty smile. The student says, You should get to orientation. Then she keeps walking. Mara looks at the laminated card again. The words haven't changed, but they feel heavier now. Rule 1 wasn't a suggestion. It was a trap. They move with the crowd because standing still feels like an invitation. They pass a glass case filled with trophies. The plaques list years that don't make sense: 2098, 2032, 2017, then 199X with the last digit smeared. They reach a set of double doors. A sign reads auditorium. A student volunteer stands nearby with a clipboard, smile fixed in place like a sticker. The volunteer says, Welcome. Please wait until you're invited. Jonah says, Invited by who? The volunteer's smile widens, as if the question is adorable. The volunteer says, By the campus. Eli says, That's not an answer. The intercom clicks again, now muffled behind the auditorium doors. The intercom voice says Mara, Ellie, Juna, Lean. Mara's blood goes cold. Hearing her name said in that bright tone feels too intimate, like the building has been watching her longer than she's been awake. The intercom voice says, You are invited. The doors open. Inside, the auditorium is packed. Rows and rows of students sit with perfect posture. Hundreds of faces turned toward the stage, waiting like they've rehearsed waiting. On stage stands a mascot costume, a smiling owl with oversized eyes. Dean Hoot says, Hello students, welcome to orientation. We're so excited you're here. A slideshow clicks on. Welcome students. Your goal, graduation. Your reward, commencement. Jonah whispers without moving his lips. Jonah says, Commencement, like a ceremony. Eli says, Graduation implies. Requirements. Another slide appears. Rule 4. When IT reigns, do not be outdoors. Mara scans the audience and catches something that makes her stomach twist. A handful of students hold open umbrellas. Indoors. Black umbrellas, perfectly dry on the inside, dripping from the outside as if they've stepped out of a storm and brought it with them. No one speaks to them. No one even seems to notice they're there. Dean Hoot continues, voice sweet as syrup. Dean Hoot says, Rules keep you safe. They keep everyone safe. When you follow them, you'll do just fine. A slide flickers, then resolves. Rule 2. If you see a person walking indoors with an umbrella, do not speak to them. Jonah's jaw tightens. Mara can tell what he's thinking. A rule like that isn't about safety. It's about control. Dean Hoot says, Orientation will continue across campus today. Please remember your schedule. Please remember your rules. The crowd rises all at once, a coordinated motion that makes Mara feel like she's standing among machines. They follow the flow back into the halls. The moment they step out, the campus looks normal again. Sunlight spilling through tall windows, students laughing, teachers walking with coffee cups. It's almost convincing. Almost. Mara and the others move faster now, heads down, careful. They round a corner and freeze. A person walks toward them in the hallway, holding an umbrella open. Indoors, black fabric, slow drip from the edges, each drop hanging a fraction too long before it falls. Students part around the umbrella person without speaking. Mara's throat tightens. Mara says, "Don't." Jonah swallows. Jonah says, "I won't." The umbrella person stops in front of a girl at a locker. The girl looks up, startled, then amused, like she's seeing a classmate pull a dumb prank. The girl says, "Can I help you?" The umbrella tilts just enough to show a mouth. The mouth smiles. The umbrella person says in the girl's exact voice, "Can I help you?" The girl's smile falters. The umbrella person repeats her again, softer this time, closer. The umbrella person says, "Can I help you?" The girl's eyes glaze, not instantly, but gradually like a screen dimming. Her shoulders relax. Her face smooths into a polite expression, empty behind the eyes. She turns back to her locker and opens it with mechanical precision. Then she says, calmly, as if reading from a script. The girl says, "Please proceed to your next location." Jonah's skin goes pale. Jonah says that that's not her anymore. Mara says, "It's like it copied her." Eli says, "Or replaced her." Lynn says, "Barely audible," or edited her. The umbrella person continues walking, unhurried, as if it has all day. Jonah watches it go, rage and fear tangled together. Jonah says, "This is insane." Mara says, "Don't talk about it like it's a prank. People are changing." Lynn's eyes flick to a classroom doorway nearby. The room is dark. Lights off. The door cracked open an inch. Lynn says, "Rule 3. A boy approaches the dark classroom, holding a worksheet. He hesitates, looks around, shrugs like he's late and doesn't want detention. He pushes the door open. The darkness inside doesn't look like darkness. It looks thick, like a substance. The boy steps in. For a second, nothing happens. Then he steps back out. His face is the same. His posture isn't. His eyes don't track the hallway correctly, as if he's not seeing what he's looking at. He walks away, shoulders loose, expression pleasant, and says to no one in particular. The boy says, "Please follow campus guidelines." Mara's heart hammers. Mara says, "That's the third one. That's 3 people." Eli says, 3 rules, 3 changes. Jonah says, "So it's not random." Lynn says, "It's training." Mara looks at the schedule posted on the wall beside the classroom doors. It's a map of the day, orientation stations, bell protocol, umbrella etiquette, darkroom safety, weather compliance, commencement preparation. At the bottom, in smaller print, like a note you're not meant to read, commencement location, gymnasium. Access by eligibility only. Jonah says, "Eligibility." Eli says, "So we're supposed to pass." Mara asks, "Pass what?" They go to the gymnasium to check out the commencement location. On the way, the umbrella person appears again, drifting down a corridor with that slow drip. Mara grabs Jonah's sleeve before he can speak. Mara says, "Don't." Jonah swallows his anger and nods. They pass without engaging, letting it slide by like a shark you don't splash near. In front of the gym doors, a new sign hangs, fresh and glossy. Commencement preparation. Authorized students only. Eli tries the handle. Locked, Jonah says. "We're not eligible." Mara says, "Not yet." They then move toward the library, because it feels like the one place on a campus that might hold answers. Inside, the air is cooler. The silence has weight. Rows of books line the walls. The covers are blank. No authors, no titles. Mara pulls one open, and the text doesn't hold still. Words shift slightly when she looks away and back, as if the book is trying to match whatever she expects it to say. Eli finds a campus map mounted on a stand. Eli says, "No roads, no parking lots. It's like the campus is cut out of the world." Jonah says, "So there's no leaving, only graduating." Lynn stands near a vent, head tilted. Lynn says, "The building hums like it's thinking." Mara sits at a study table and runs her fingers along the underside, where bored students might carve secrets. She finds scratches, letters, a message pressed into the wood hard enough to scar it. "Make it choose." She reads it again, slower. "Make it choose." Eli leans in. He wonders out loud. Choose between what? Mara looks at the rules card, then at the orientation stations. Mara says, "Between itself." Jonah says, "That's not helpful." Mara replies, "It is. If this place runs on rules, then rules can collide." Lynn's expression tightens. Lynn says, "A contradiction." Eli's eyes sharpen, the way they do when a puzzle becomes a shape he can hold. Eli says, "If we force two rules to apply at once." Jonah says, "We break the system." Mara says, "Or we get turned into copies." No one laughs. Outside the library windows, clouds gather again, fast and unnatural, like someone is dragging weather across a screen. A few minutes later, rain starts. Students move quickly under awnings and into buildings. They don't run, they don't panic, they simply comply. A girl is caught on the lawn, late. She looks up at the covered walkway and makes a decision too slowly. Rain hits her. At first, nothing changes, and Mara almost believes she's safe. Then the girl's face slackens. Her eyes lose their focus. Her mouth settles into a gentle smile that isn't connected to any feeling. She walks calmly to the nearest door, and as she passes the library window, she turns her head slightly and speaks, voice polite and flat. The girl says, "Please remain indoors during rainfall." Jonah's hands curl into fists. Jonah says, "They're all like that. They've all been rewritten." Lynn says, "Or they're being replaced one by one." Mara watches the girl disappear inside a building without urgency, and the fear in her chest changes shape. It stops being panic. It becomes determination. Mara says, "We can't just follow the rules and hope." Eli follows. "We need a plan." Mara taps the carved message under the table. Mara says, "We make it choose." They wait for the bell. It rings. They don't look up. They don't need to. They've seen what happens. Instead, they watch the hallway. A student near the library entrance tilts his head, curious, and looks up. The ceiling responds. Something slips down through the grid, like a hand reaching out of a hidden compartment. It moves with purpose, as if it's been waiting for permission. It drops toward the student, and the student is gone, snatched upward so fast it barely looks physical. Mara flinches anyway. Jonah whispers, "That's not correction." Eli says, "That's removal." Lynn suggests, "If it can remove someone, it can remove us." Mara says, "Or it can remove the rule." Eli looks at her and says, "What?" Mara explains, "If the system has to enforce a rule, it exposes itself. It reaches out. It acts," Lynn says. "And if it tries to act in two ways at once," Jonah finishes her sentence, "it glitches." They start moving, careful and quick, as if the campus is listening for the shape of rebellion. Their goal becomes simple: create a moment where the rules collide so hard the campus can't pretend it's stable. Lynn points toward a nearby hallway. "The lights flicker," Lynn says. "We can do it here." They choose a corridor that runs alongside the gym, lined with classroom doors and trophy cases. It has an overhang that opens to the quad through a set of double doors. Outside those doors, rain is falling. Inside, the bell schedule is predictable. It rings every half hour, precise as a metronome. Mara studies the rule card again, like it's a blueprint. Rule 1. When the bell rings, do not look up. Rule 2. Umbrella indoors, do not speak. Rule 3. Do not enter a dark classroom. Rule 4. When it rains, do not be outdoors. And the one they haven't seen in full yet, the one that hasn't been demonstrated, but feels inevitable. Lynn says, quietly, there's always a rule about turning around. Eli adds, because it wants you to react. Mara says, we force the reaction somewhere else. They wait. They watch the flow of students. They find a boy near a dark classroom door, hesitating, glancing at his schedule, trying to decide if being late is worse than stepping into darkness. Mara moves toward him and says, don't go in there. The boy looks at her, eyes unfocused for a moment, then clears. The boy says, I'm going to be late. Mara says, you won't like what happens. The boy hesitates. His face tightens as if he's fighting an instruction he can't name. Then, from farther down the hall, a bright voice calls out. The intercom voice says, students, please proceed to commencement preparation. Mara's pulse jumps. Eli urges, now. Rain continues outside the double doors. Mara feels a cold certainty settle in her stomach. This is the moment. Mara says, we're doing it. Jonah asks, confused. Doing what? Mara replies, making it choose. Eli positions himself near the dark classroom door, not entering. Just close enough that the black gap inside feels like it's watching. Lynn stands with her back near the trophy case, eyes forward, breathing controlled. Mara steps toward the double doors that lead outside and opens it. Their plan is that Eli will step into the dark classroom and Mara will step into the rain at the same time, trying to violate two rules at once. Excuse me. Someone tries to get past Jonah to step outside into the rain. Jonah's mouth opens before his brain catches up. Jonah says, sorry, while stepping aside. Silence. Then the umbrella tilts just enough to show a mouth. The mouth smiles, and the mouth is Jonah's mouth. The umbrella person says in Jonah's exact voice, sorry. Jonah's face goes slack, as if someone lowered a dimmer switch inside him. He blinks once, slow and heavy. Then again, his shoulders drop. His hands unclench. His tense expression is replaced by something calm and empty. Mara steps closer, panic rising. Mara calls out, Jonah. Jonah turns toward her. His eyes look right through her, not past her, through her, like she's a window. Jonah smiles, polite, pleasant. Not Jonah. Jonah says, evenly, please proceed to your next location. Mara's throat tightens so hard she can barely breathe. Eli takes a step forward, voice sharp. Jonah, snap out of it. Jonah doesn't react. Lynn's hands tremble at her sides. He's like them. Mara stares at Jonah's face, trying to find any crack, any leftover warmth. There isn't one. It's not that he's dead. It's worse. He's still standing there, wearing himself, but the person inside is gone. Mara's eyes burn. She forces herself to look away because she can't bear the smile. Eli says, we have to get out. Lynn whispers, almost to herself. That's what happens when you give it your voice. They back away from Jonah because he isn't Jonah anymore, and the umbrella person glides past them, unbothered, drifting to the entrance. Mara's hands shake so badly she folds them into fists, nails digging into her palms. She doesn't want to cry. Crying feels like giving the campus what it wants. Still, grief sits in her chest like a stone. They stumble toward the closest open space, a corridor that overlooks the quad through tall windows. Outside, the sky is turning the color of dirty paper. Eli's voice is strained, controlled. We can't fix him. Mara disagrees. We can't leave him. Lynn says. He's not there anymore. Mara swallows hard, tasting salt. Mara asks, then what's the point of any of this? No one answers. For a moment, they stand in the hallway like lost kids on the first day of school, except the school is hunting them, and their friend is now part of the hunt. Then the bell rings again. The sound snaps through the building, sharp and clean. Students around them stop mid-step and lower their gaze like they're bowing. Eli's hand reaches for Mara's wrist out of reflex. Eli says, "Don't." Mara doesn't pull away. She doesn't fight him. She just stands very still, staring at the floor, letting the grief settle into something harder. Because the umbrella rule took Jonah in seconds. Because the ceiling rule takes people in a way that leaves nobody behind. Because the rules aren't random. They're tools. They change you from the outside in. The bell continues to ring, a little longer than usual, as if the campus is waiting to see what they do next. Mara lifts her chin. Eli tightens his grip. "Mara, don't look up." Mara's voice is steady, even though her hands are shaking. "Watch me." She looks up, not in a slow, curious way. Not in the way the boy looked up earlier. She looks up like she's challenging the ceiling to show itself. At the same time, she turns her head toward the umbrella person, because it has returned from the entrance. It's close again, closer than it should be. Black umbrella open indoors, dripping in patient rhythm. Mara forces words past her tight throat. She calls out, "Hi." Eli's breath catches. Lynn flinches, as if Mara just stepped off a cliff. For half a second, nothing happens. Then the ceiling answers. Something shifts above the tiles, and the hallway's light seems to thin, as if the building is making room for what lives up there. A shape drops into view, fast, wet, wrong, descending toward Mara like a punishment finally delivered. At the exact same moment, the umbrella tilts, mouth appearing, smile widening. The umbrella person says in Mara's voice, "Hi." Two things reach for her at once. Two rules enforcing themselves at once. The hallway flickers, not like a light bulb dying, like reality itself stuttering. The students around them blur, turning into outlines for a blink. The lockers ripple like they're made of water. The ceiling creature freezes mid-drop, suspended as if it hit invisible glass. The umbrella person's umbrella tears across the fabric in jagged lines, like a screen cracking. Mara's stomach lurches. Eli grabs her arm harder and screams, "Mara!" Lynn's voice is high, frightened. It's breaking. The bell cuts off abruptly, as if someone yanked the cord. Silence lands heavy. Then the intercom clicks on. Not cheerful now. Not bright. Flat. Controlled. Uncertain, like a teacher caught without a lesson plan. The intercom voice says, "Eligible students, please proceed to the gymnasium." Mara's pulse slams in her ears. Eli says, "Did it just?" Lynn says, "It didn't know what to do." Mara swallows. Her mouth is dry, because we made it follow two rules at once. The umbrella person flickers again, weaker, as if it's losing priority. Its smile trembles like a corrupted file. The ceiling creature retracts a fraction, not retreating out of fear, but because the system is recalculating. Mara lowers her gaze, not out of obedience, but because she's done what she needed to do. She looks at Eli and Lynn. Mara says, "We go, now." They move fast. Not running, running draws attention, but cutting through the hallway with purpose. Around them, students start moving again, but the rhythm is off now. The campus feels less smooth, less confident. A few faces turn toward Mara with something that almost looks like recognition or warning. They reach the gymnasium. Eli tries the handle, and this time the door opens. Mara's skin prickles. Eli leans close, voice barely audible. "So the key is breaking it," Lynn says, equally quiet. "Not one rule, two." Inside, The bleachers are filled. The stage is set. The banner reads commencement. Behind the stage is the metal door that doesn't belong. A button beside it reads exit. Eli stares at it, jaw tight. Eli says, "If we press that," Lynn adds, "if it's another test." Mara thinks of Jonah's empty smile, and anger pushes down the fear. Mara says, "Then we do what we did before." She steps toward the button. Before she presses it, she looks at Eli and Lynn and makes a decision without saying it out loud. If the door is protected by rules, she will force the rules to collide again. She presses exit. The door opens onto blank darkness, like the campus ends there. Mara steps through first. Lynn follows. Eli comes last. For a moment, there is nothing at all. No hallway, no campus, no bell. Then Mara wakes up in a reclined chair with a loose strap around her wrist and a sensor cap sliding off her head. Her lungs fill with air that tastes faintly of plastic and spearmint. Neon light washes the room. The walls are glossy and clean, the kind of clean that makes you think of money. Rows of pods line the space like high-end arcade seats. Screens float along one wall, each showing a different camera angle of the school campus they were just trapped in. Hallways, the quad in the rain, the auditorium with its perfect crowd. Eli is already sitting up nearby, blinking hard like he's waiting for the rules to follow him out. Lynn sits frozen, hands in her lap, staring at her fingers as if she's checking they still belong to her. And Jonah is standing near the wall of screens. He's fine, not shaken, not pale, not frantic. He's leaning forward with his arms folded, watching a replay like it's a highlight clip from a sports game. A small grin tugs at one corner of his mouth, the kind that says he's entertained and impressed at the same time. Mara's voice comes out rough. "Jonah." Jonah turns around like he's been waiting for that exact moment, and his grin widens. Jonah says, "There you are." Mara swings her legs off the chair, still unsteady. Mara says, You were." Jonah waves a hand, casual. Yeah, umbrella rule got me." He points back at the screens. "But look at this. You guys actually figured it out." Mara follows his gesture without meaning to. On one screen, a replay shows her in the hallway, eyes lifted, saying hi at the exact moment the bell rings. The ceiling creature hangs mid-drop as the world stutters. The umbrella tears like a glitchy video. Another screen shows Eli's face when the intercom changes tone, and Lynn's expression when she realizes the campus is forcing eligibility. Jonah taps the edge of the display with a kind of proud disbelief. Jonah says, "Most people don't get past the first few rules. They panic, they comply, they loop. You did, whatever that was. You broke it." Mara's stomach rolls as the memory tries to decide whether it was fear or adrenaline. Mara says so it was. A big neon sign above the pods answers for her. "Welcome to Nightmare Campus. Immersive rule horror experience." Lynn's voice is small, almost offended. "This is a game." Jonah's grin turns playful. "Yep, the game was designed to make us forget that we signed up for it." Eli stands slowly, scanning the room like he's waiting for someone to tell him he's trespassing. And when Jonah got turned, that was what? A fail state. A teen employee in a branded hoodie approaches, cheerful in a way that should be harmless, but suddenly feels sharp. The employee says, "Technically, it's a conversion event. If you talk to the umbrella NPC, the system copies your voice print and swaps your behavior profile. It's a crowd mechanic." Mara stares. Crowd mechanic. The employee nods as if describing a fun feature. It makes the environment feel populated and unpredictable. "People love it," Lynn says. "You used our voices." The employee shrugs. Personalization. It bumps engagement. Jonah laughs under his breath, not because it's funny, but because the absurdity is almost impressive. Jonah says, Okay, I admit it. The umbrella thing is good. Mara looks at him like he's lost his mind. Good. Jonah gestures at the replay again. I mean, terrifying, sure. But as design, it's clever. It punishes instinct. It punishes politeness. It makes you watch other people break first, so you think it's real. Eli's mouth tightens. We thought you were gone. Jonah's grin softens. Not guilty, exactly. More like he's acknowledging how well the illusion worked. I know. From the spectator feed, I could see your faces when it happened. That's when I started rooting for you. He points at another clip where Mara steadies her breathing, then sets her jaw like she's making a decision. That moment, that was the turning point. You stopped reacting and started playing back. Mara's hands are still trembling, but the tremble is changing now. Less fear, more aftershock. So the exit. We became eligible because we broke 2 rules at once. The employee beams. Yep. The system can enforce 1 violation cleanly. 2 simultaneous violations force arbitration. Enough arbitration spikes the anomaly score and triggers commencement. Eli exhales, once slow. So we were graded, Jonah says. And you got an A. Lynn looks down at her hands again, quieter now. It didn't feel like a game. Jonah nods, still amused, still impressed. That's why it worked. Jonah lingers a half step behind them, glancing back at the wall of screens like he's tempted to queue up another round just to see what's different. Above the pods, glowing softly in white letters against black glass, is the name of the place, clean, minimal, and unsettling in how confidently it presents itself. The Liminal Arcade. Beneath it, smaller text scrolls through rotating titles. Nightmare Campus, Closed Ward, Last Train Home. Jonah lets out a quiet, impressed breath, like someone standing in a museum of ideas they wish they'd thought of first. He turns away before the screens can tempt him further and follows the others out. Mara catches him and shakes her head once. Jonah chuckles and follows. They step into the corridor. Their feet hit ordinary tile. Their ears fill with ordinary sound. For a few seconds, their bodies start to relax. Then, faintly, somewhere behind them, a bell chimes. Not loud, not sharp, just a soft little note, easily ignored by anyone who didn't spend a lifetime inside a school. Eli stops. Lynn inhales sharply. Jonah's head tilts up a fraction before he catches himself, smiling as if he's impressed by his own reflex. Mara doesn't think. Her voice comes out low and automatic, like muscle memory. Don't look up. And the unsettling part isn't that they freeze. It's that they listen. Hope you enjoyed this story, Rule Horror on Campus. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, Short Fiction Lab, to get your daily dose of short audiobooks like this.